Welcome back, friends. Last guy friend. It's time for more Great Ace Attorney. The disc. Talking about this guy's disc. There's a note on the disc saying for McGilded, but the item belongs to me. The redemption ticket was stolen from me by the accused, that filthy gutterling, on the day in question. I proceeded at once to the shop in order to explain my situation and redeem my article. In the end, of course, the disc was taken by the police. In other words, I had absolutely no reason to break into the shop later that same night. Did I hear you correctly, sir? McGill, did you say? The famous London philanthropist? Who perished in this very courtroom 2 months ago after being acquitted of a distinctly messy murder. Phone's going crazy. Yes, my lord. The one and the same. Good lord, Mr. Graydon. Are you saying that Mr. McGilded and yourself were acquainted? Yes, that's correct. Order. Well, I certainly didn't expect to hear that name uttered here in my courtroom again. According to what Gina told us, this disc was placed in pawn on that fateful night 2 months ago. McGilded himself gave instructions to deposit it at Mr. Windybank's. It's funny that Mr. Graydon here is claiming the disc belongs to him then, isn't it? In all likelihood, he's lying. So he appeared that afternoon at Windybank's in order to get his hands on McGilded's disc for some reason. Counsel, you will commence your cross-examination, please. Alright, here we go. Cross-examination. The disc. That's the one thing I think about with dealing with Von Zeeks. Is there's 1 or 2 cases where... I think only one case that comes up to mind, but I say 2 just in case. Where Phoenix and Miles were actually working together to find the truth in a case. Because at a point Miles realizes, oh snap, I got the wrong guy. And he starts working with Phoenix in the way they're talking to get the guy. It's very interesting, that one. Can't remember which case that was, though. Chris, Von Zeeks here is just such a jerk. Just isn't really working with you here. Would you care to explain how this belongs to you? As you will observe, a communications officer such as myself commands a fine salary. You are certainly exquisitely dressed, sir. So you see, I have little need to make use of services provided by the pawnbrokery trade. However, I did once find myself in difficulties having misplaced my purse whilst on an errand. Which is why I pawned my fine black overcoat to the broker in question. You claimed that was your overcoat? Obviously, in my haste, I clean forgot that the music disc was in its pocket. And yet, there is a note on it that reads for McGilded. I'm a collector of rare and unusual music. I first met Mr. McGilded at a gentleman's club in the city and was interested to discover that he shared my penchant in that area. So the disc in question. It's a pre-production sample. I promised to let Mr. McGilded hear it. But then you forgot that it was in the pocket of an overcoat you were forced to pawn? These voices are getting too close, aren't they? Yes, exactly. I gotta get deeper in this voice. Yuna didn't mention any of that in her testimony 2 months ago, did she? No, because McGilded had threatened her to keep her mouth shut. Which means that if we dig too deeply here, it's going to expose Gina's perjury. Oh dear. This is complicated, isn't it? Let's leave it alone for the time being. I gotta get deeper voice integrated in here, because it's too much like my regular voice. So you're saying that Miss Lestrade lifted the ticket from your pocket or bag? That's right, despite being mindful of danger when walking thus insalubrious areas her kind frequent. Objection! Miss Lestrade did no such thing. Well, of course you would take that stance, but the girl is a regular offender. There we go. You came to the pawnbroker that day prepared with all the information you needed to identify the defendant. You were looking for her. That's what brought you to Windybank's. to get your hands on Mr. McGilden's disc.
Objection!
My learned friend, is it a veritable font of nonsense? Nonsense? I concur with the prosecution. Counsel, you will refrain from conjecturing in this way. Is that clear? Yes, my lord. Then I will continue with my testimony for what possible use it can be.
Hold it!
Had you ever been to Windybanks before? Only once, for the purpose of pawning something. Not like many, but like many, I enjoy browsing in such establishments. So when you noticed that the pickpocket had taken your ticket, you chased after her, is that correct? I gotta get deeper in that one too. Yes, that's right, I didn't notice at first, of course, such is the art of the pickpocket. But when I did, I headed to the pawnbroker at once, in order to reclaim my coat before the thief could. I was merely trying to recover what was rightfully mine in the first place. He can say what he likes because he knows we have no evidence to contradict him on this.
Hold it!
Yes, it was taken by Inspector Gregson here, wasn't it? That's right, this was the very man. Apparently the police are collecting anything that has a connection to Mr. McGilded as evidence. Oh, okay, we'll get him on that soon. That's what the inspector said, at least, as he seized my disc. But thanks to the skirmish with that wastrel, I snagged the end of my thumb at the same time. And the disc in question is this disc here. No, same voice. Fudge, fudge, fudge. Yes, it is. Scotland Yard have indeed been gathering items believed to have been the property of Mr. McGilded. Presumably to aid their investigations in some way. There we go, that's better. Not something I would be aware of. I really didn't know the man well, anyway. After all, I'm merely a communications officer with a penchant for music boxes. Ah, Pink Panther! That's the voice I'm going for with this guy! And flamboyant poses. Heavens and Murgatroyd, that's what I'm going for! I am going for Pink Panther! I noticed now. But perhaps you'd seen something of value among the forfeited items? No, not at all. Oh! The valuer was brought in by the police to assess everything in the shop. Without exception, every article on the shelves was common or garden bric-a-brac. In that case, it's clear that you broke into the shop later that day in order to recover Mr. McGilded's disc. Have you not been listening, man? Even if I had wanted to recover the disc, you may recall that it had been seized by the police that afternoon. It was no more in the shop that night than I. As I keep saying, I simply had no reason to break in. So there was nothing in McGilded's left in the shop that night? Nothing this man might have been after? I wonder if that's really true. He said there were 2 discs, so... Well, if he has some evidence, then let him have it. I'm dying to see that irritatingly assured expression of his crumble. You should get his ass. McGilded slipped the disc into his coat pocket and had it deposited at Windybanks. Then, when he realized he was going to be arrested on suspicion of the omnibus murder, he threatened Gina and forced her to take the redemption ticket. There's no doubt about it. That witness is lying through his pearly white teeth. The police were obviously after anything left behind by McGilded as well. That's why Inspector Gregson ended up taking the disc into custody that day. But Gregson is being very strange about all of this. There must be a reason for that, I'm sure. I just don't know what it is. For now, I need to focus on exposing the fact that Mr. Graydon is lying in his testimony. Okay. Number 4, wasn't it? It was number 4. There we go.
Excuse me.
Hey, bruh. Is something wrong, Inspector? What do you mean? The last remark Mr. Graydon made in his testimony seemed to trouble you in some way. No, it didn't. It did nothing. Leave it alone. Let me ask you this, Inspector. Why is Scotland Yard gathering Mr. McGilda's possessions? I can't tell you something like that, Sunshine! I don't have the voice at the moment. I can tell. I'm close, but not there. What is it, Inspector? Investigative secrets? Yes, exactly! You should know about all that! Magnus McGilda, who died so unexpectedly after his trial 2 months ago. A man renowned throughout the capital for his great contributions to public life. Yet he had a dark side, too. Where are you going with this, Von Zeeks? I suppose the police are dealing with the aftermath of his nefarious activities, are they? That's enough! Coppers like me have duties to carry out that we're not at liberty to talk about. That's all you need to know. Duties conferred by Lord Strongheart, I presume. The Lord Chief Justice appears to have great faith in you, Inspector. Urgh. The bottom line is, if you want to get more out of me, you're gonna need Lord Strongheart's paw print first. What's all this about? It's like there's something going on between Gregson and Lord Von Zeeks here. Well, it would appear that the Inspector has revealed all that he is at liberty to reveal. Mr. Graydon, let us return to your testimony. Gladly, my lord. Okay, let's see here. Okay. What evidence do I have? Okay, let's take a look at this really quick. This is from... Okay, let's go back a sec here. Go to start. Can we get him on this? Because the date it was made is right there, April. I know, we're in April. No, it says February, yeah. So it was made in February. We might be able to get him on this. 1 second now. Looking through to see if there's anything else. I'm gonna try this one. Do we scum save? Of course we do. We are scummy. Save. Man, we've been at this case for a while, haven't we? Let's give it a shot. Oh, wait, is this for the disc? One gentleman's overcoat. One small box. So obviously the overcoat. Where did we get this one for? When? Okay, here we go.
Objection.
That's not it! Let's just consider the implications of that statement for a moment, shall we? What implications, Counsel? Nothing strikes me about it. Exactly. There's nothing striking about it. But to strike me is your propensity for the inane, however. I need to clear my head and come at this again from a different angle. Yeah, maybe there's nothing here. But it would be that one, wouldn't it? It would be that one, because it's not going to be this one much. Yeah, it's not this one. It's the wrong ticket, because it's a small box. What was the small box for again? Okay, so let us hit this button. I have a thought. Usually from the pawnbroker owned by the victim, inform some handwritten notes on the back of a photograph. One small box, 10 shillings. What was the small box about is the question.
Objection.
There we go. This disc was deposited Windy Banks on Magnus McGilda's instructions. You knew that, and you went there with the intention of obtaining it for yourself.
Objection.
Conjecture again, and in any case, the disc was taken into custody by the police that afternoon. The witness had no reason to visit the pawnbroker again that night.
Objection.
Sorry, my learned friend, but that's not true. What? Mr. McGilded had another article on pawn at Windybanks. As this second pawnbrokery ticket proves. Ah. There were 2 articles belonging to Mr. McGilded in Windybanks pawnbrokery. And the reason you broke into the shop that night was to recover the second one. Together with your 2 accomplices, the Skulkin brothers. This is the second ticket, is it? What had the man deposited? The article description reads, 1 small box. A rather vague description, it seems to me. Are you suggesting that I broke into the pawnbrokery with these clowns in order to steal some trinket box? I believe there were adequate grounds to suspect that you did. This is absurd. Why on earth would I do such a thing? Once the article has been forfeited, I could simply walk into the shop and purchase it. There would absolutely be no need for me to resort to theft. That was weird. That's a good point. Indeed, the witness makes a solid argument. But that means that for some reason, this Graydon fellow would need the small box that very night, doesn't it?
Objection!
Ooh. It's time to put an end to this nonsense, my lord. Could you be a little less cryptic, Lord Von Zeeks? I do hate to ruin my learned friend's argument, but the truth is quite incontrovertible. On the night in question, no small box was taken from Windybank's pawnbrokery. And rest assured, the prosecution can prove it. What? Good gracious! Well, it couldn't have been if they got stopped. Inspector, show the photographic prints to the court, if you please. Yes, sir. What prints? The thing is, yeah, he couldn't steal anything because the pawnbroker got shot. These prints were taken from one of the detective's security cameras. Holly's one-handed recorders again. As previously explained using this plan of the shop layout, the victim's establishment was furnished with automatic cameras in 2 locations. One was set to capture the counter where Mr. Windybank received his customers, and the other was set to capture the shelves on which articles were placed, for sale once forfeited. According to the information on this ticket, the gilded small box had been forfeited already. 2 days before the incident at 9 p.m. on 13th of April to be precise. Which means it would have been on the shelves of the forfeited items in the shop front. Now what I have here is a print taken by one of the cameras about 2 hours before the incident. That's 11 p.m. on the 15th of April. The victim certainly had a full shop, it would appear. And then here we have another print. I gotta look at the 2. This one was taken about 2 hours after the incident. I see. So we have 2 pictures to compare. I'm looking to see if there's differences. The box got moved right there. Okay, something was moved. I must say that placing them side by side leaves me cold. There is a difference. Something was moved. Dear me, that's starting to make my head ache. Obviously, at Scotland Yard, we considered theft as one possible motive in this case. We explored the possibility that something had been taken in addition to the victim's life. So you men have already compared these 2 prints thoroughly, Inspector? Yes, sir. We counted every single item in each of these 2 photographic prints. And the yard's conclusion is that exactly the same number are present in both. In other words, nothing was taken from the pawnbrokery on the night in question. And my learned friend's assertion is nothing more than a hopeful fantasy. I don't believe it. I could have just shown that he'd stolen McGilda's pawn box. I might have been able to break him down at last. There we go, that's better. You know what, Luna? I've been thinking. I wonder if these two photographs really are exactly the same. They're not. What? So, counsel, in the light of the evidence put forward by the prosecution, what is your position? It seems that, in fact, on the night in question, nothing was stolen from the victim's establishment. Do you accept the prosecution's assertion? I don't know. Could there be some hidden discrepancy in these two photographic prints somewhere? Why not discrepancy? I wasn't sure at first, but there is a clear discrepancy between these two prints. What? You must identify the location in question for the court, counsel. Indicate the precise location of the discrepancy of which you speak. Yeah, easy peasy lemon squeeze, it's right here.
Take that!
Right there, bro. Granted, these two prints are almost identical. However, there is one minor discrepancy between the two. What? When you view the two pictures stereoscopically... Dong. A single area stands out as being different. The location of the small box. Let me... wait. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. By Jove, you're right. Oh my god, Santa. How extraordinary. What this tells us is very simple. Mr. McGilda's small box was indeed not stolen from Windy Banks on the night in question. However, there can be no doubt that somebody picked up this particular box and then returned it to its place on the shelves. Are you suggesting that the small box originally deposited by Mr. McGilda is in fact... Yes, the very same small box I just identified in those photographic prints.
Objection!
Mindless guesswork. What if it was? So a box was moved on the shelf. Nothing was stolen. Which means quite simply that nothing has changed. That may be true, but... Alright, McGilda's box wasn't stolen then. But doesn't the fact that it was moved like that change things? It changes everything. I believe this does change everything about the case. How can that possibly be? The crucial point is the fact that what was moved was a small box. In other words, we have to consider what might have been inside that box. What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting that we need to examine that box as soon as possible. A vital piece of evidence is sitting on the shelves at Windy Banks as we speak.
Objection!
That won't be necessary. Some little box belonging to a man who died 2 months ago can't possibly be relevant to this case. The court does not uphold your objection, Lord Von Zeeks. Bailiff, arrange for an officer to go to Baker Street at once. Obtain the small box in question and bring it back here for further examination. Robber. Alright. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. It's alright. We should have a report within half an hour. I think perhaps we should recess for a short while until the evidence is brought forth. Okay. To be hoodwinked by such a farce. Disappointing. I beg your pardon, Lord Von Zeeks. This is nothing but a smokescreen. A Nipponese specialty, it would seem. What are you trying to say? My learned friend has persisted with the same line of reasoning from the very beginning. that this witness's intent was to steal an article belonging to Mr. McGillard from the pawnbrokery. Yet common sense tells us that none of the articles have value enough to be worth stealing in the first place. Exactly. It would be beyond absurd to break into a place for the purpose of stealing such commonplace property. If your lordship recalls, Mr. McGillard perished 2 months ago, immediately after the conclusion of his trial. A trial in which he was found not guilty. A trial in which it was established that he was the upstanding member of society. His reputation implied, in fact. So I propose a toast to my learned friend and his most insightful defense. Huh? Heavens, Murder, the articles of this upstanding member of society pawned were entirely ordinary. A black overcoat that just happened to have a small music box disc in one of its pockets. And a small box. I assure you I wouldn't accept even if the man tried to make a gift of such things to me. You know, that does make rather a lot of sense. Not if it was a gold or jewels, is it? Though goodness knows Mr. McGillard was rich. But I can't deposit cash at a pawnbroker. What was that last bit? But you can't deposit cash at a pawnbroker. I'm quite certain of that. Look at that. The prosecution's argument is undeniably compelling. It is incumbent on the defense now to bolster its argument. To explain what possible significance these commonplace articles pawned by this fine citizen could have. Huh. Well, counsel, is your argument in fact demonstrable? Are you able to show proof that the disc or the box are in any tangible way related to this case? Well, What's the matter, Una? We know that we waited, don't we? They both had a piece of evidence. Yes, of course. You and I both know that. We know McGillard's true character, and we know the disc is significant, even if we don't know why. But if we explain all that to the court at this point, we'll have to acknowledge that Mr. McGillard's acquittal 2 months ago was a mistake. That the defense's argument was flawed, based on false information. Oh no! And that would mean... that Gina committed perjury. But Keeney... Could it be that Lord Von Zeeks knows this? Is that why he's doing this now? Because he anticipated everything? But maybe... this could be a great opportunity for us. Sorry? What do you mean, Iris? Iris? What do you mean, Iris? Well, what is it that you always say, Luna? Sooner or later, the truth comes out. Every time. Oh, so we have to admit the perjury. Huh. Alright, the exact significance of the things that McGillard deposit with Mr. Windybank is something that only Gina can explain to the court. But if I put her on the stand to testify about that, it could critically damage our chances of winning this case. What's the right thing to do here? Because it's a character problem. Because then her character will be besmirched. Hey, if Iris says do it, do it! Then Gina testify. My lord, the defense would like to make a proposal. Oh, what proposal, counsel? While the court awaits the arrival of Mr. McGillard's small box, I would like to call the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade, to the witness stand. The defendant? To what end? It's to do with the various articles deposited Mr. Windybanks by McGillard himself, my lord. Miss Lestrade has information relating to that. I believe it would be beneficial for the court to hear what she has to say. It will prove the significance of the articles in question once and for all. Well, well, things are becoming interesting. I presume you've considered the implications of the testimony you're proposing. In particular, the impact it will have on the accused's standing, and indeed your own. I have. Lord von Zeeks, would you care to explain that last remark? The prosecution accepts the defense's proposal. I move to interrupt the cross-examination of the current witness and hear from the accused himself. Herself. Very well, if you have no objection. So the court will now hear the testimony of the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade. Your witness is currently in the stand may step down until further notice. Jesus Christ. Then I shall bid you good day. Wait. You, sir, shall remain in the stand while Miss Lestrade testifies. As you wish. Alright then, Gina, it's time. I know this will be hard, but please, put your faith in me here. Good luck, Luna. Okay, we'll stop there. Yeah, we need them both here for a reason. Time for Gina to be on the stand. That's gonna be rough, but that's it for now. Next time will be her testimony. Obviously, he's gonna react in some way, or she's gonna react in some way. That's it for now. I had fun. Hope you have fun watching. This was Bob Bassett, having fun. Thanks for coming by, and see you next time.